Thank you. We'll have Florida first, then Auburn. When Auburn makes their way down here, they'll have Denver Jones, Dylan Cardwell, and possibly Janai Broom, in addition to Bruce Pearl. Keep you guys updated on that, as well as when both locker rooms open and when they're projected to close. We do have box scores. Thank you. If you need a box score, put your hand up. Fabulous agents from the local organizing committee are bringing them around. You can't have these, though. These are mine. Stop looking at them. Don't look at what I say.
We'll concede that to you. Only because you're nice.
Opinions vary. If you're joining us here in the main interview room for our post-game news conferences, please take a moment to silence your cell phone. Please be reminded to not use flash photography. I'll let you know when we have updates on when the locker rooms open and when they're projected to close. For these news conferences this evening, no video recording devices, including handheld cameras, mini cameras, and smartphones. You cannot go live on social media during these news conferences. We'll have ASAP transcripts available immediately after. They're available at ncaa.com/transcripts. They'll also be in the duplication area. And video will be available at ncaa.veritone.com. Florida first, Auburn second. When Florida arrives, head coach Todd Golden will be joined by Walter Clayton Jr., Will Richard, Thomas Houck, and Elijah Martin. The format for these news conferences this evening, head coach will speak first. He'll make an opening statement. Then we'll take questions for the student athletes. No questions for the head coach at that time. After the student athletes head back to the locker room, we'll open things up for questions for the head coach. I would say, well, here in the main interview room, we don't place bets on such things. However, theoretically, I will have to repeat that at some point. I promise not to scowl if somebody says, this is a question for coach during the student athlete part, but I will move us on to a question for the student athletes. I also promise I may break my promise. Again, opinions vary on the kindness. At this point, we have veteran microphone stewards. They'll have microphones for you When you have a question, raise your hand. We'll send the microphone stored in your direction. Not now. And then you'll state your name and media outlet before addressing your question. No questions for you. Florida has arrived. That means that the Gators locker room is now open as well. Hi, guys. Congrats. Good.
Walter, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Walter. Mark, you're all the way down at the end. Good evening. Congrats. Congrats, Coach. We're joined at this time by the head coach of the Florida Gators, Todd Golden, and student-athletes Walter Clayton Jr., Will Richard, Thomas Houck, and Elijah Martin. We'll ask Coach Golden to begin with an opening statement, then we'll take questions.
I'm just so proud of my team, my players, and my staff have just done an incredible job all year with their preparation and their approach on a daily basis. And obviously a great accomplishment for our program to make it here to the Final Four. But the heart and just toughness, both physically and mentally, that these guys showed today was incredible. I credit Auburn, obviously an incredible team, one of the best college basketball teams in the past couple of decades. And you all know how much I love Bruce and Steven in their program. And with that being said, I'm incredibly proud of these guys for getting this win. And we're alive, man. We're playing for this national championship on Monday night.
Questions for the Florida student athletes first. Let's start on the right side, just the left of the aisle. Back right microphone, Myron.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. For Will and Thomas, what is Walter like in those moments when your back's against the wall and he just kind of turns it on the way that he did again today? Will first, please, then Thomas.
I mean, I feel like everybody sees it. I mean, he's poised, calm and collected, and confident in himself. And we had that confidence in him. We see him practice. We see his work ethic. So we're glad that everybody else is getting to see him do it in the game.
Yeah, similar answer. He's incredible. You know, on and off the court, he's just a great dude, and we trust him in those situations. And he knocks down big shots day after day. So
up front on the left side, Mike. Second row, please. Second row, please. Thank you.
Yeah, Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. Walter, took you to about the last 8 minutes against UConn and then kind of the last 4 against Texas Tech to really take control of the game. Was the object of this game to just make it happen sooner so that you guys didn't allow the game to get away?
Nah, me personally, I just let the game come to me. I know I got a bunch of other guys around me who are threats also. You know, if you try to double me, you know, like Tommy hit that 3 in the first half, kind of loosened up their defense a little bit. They kind of went away from me. So just, you know, just reading, reacting to the defense, you know, I knowing I got weapons around me.
Next question, same area, Lindsay.
Lindsay Schnell, The Athletic. This is for everyone but Walter. I think we're all out of ways to describe his game. Specifically, we can't compare him to Steph Curry anymore because Steph never did it on this stage. What's one word you would use to describe his game?
We'll start with Will. You taking a pass on that, Will, or you want to address that?
I'd just say special, to be honest. He's special.
Special's good. Thomas?
yeah, special.
Elijah, looking for a word that's not special?
Special.
All right. Yes, sir.
That's 3 in a row. That's a quorum up here at the in the main interview room. Let's go to the right side with Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin Brockway. Walter, can you take me through your assertiveness down the stretch, in particular 71-68, that three-point play, just what you saw to kind of break down the defense there, because that turned out to be a pretty big shot.
Yeah, they was kind of showing hard all night. So I think it was Cardwell. Yeah, Cardwell left a little early on one of them, so I was able to get the shot up. And then, you know, Tommy had knocked down one of those top of the key threes. And that kind of forced them to not stay as long on me because Tommy, Kondo, all of them were making plays. So just like I said, the guys around me making plays allows me for my game to open up, and I appreciate them.
We're up front in the center with Zach.
Zach Brazil, New York Post. Walter, you were saying yesterday your kind of introduction to March Madness was watching Kemba 14 years ago. What was it about that kind of drew you in, and do you think you're doing a pretty good imitation of him the last few weeks?
I wouldn't say imitation. I try to be my own person, but yeah, man, Kemba on one of the biggest stages was just calm, cool and collected. So just watching that, I kind of admired that. He was able to just zone himself out and, just play his game.
We're going to go halfway up the aisle on the left side. Chris?
Chris Harry, FloridaGators.com. Thomas and Elijah, I think they were pretty much having their way 73%, I think, in the two-point area in the first half. Cut it in half in the second half. What did you guys do? What did you talk about at halftime to try to settle in and do something about what they were doing, beasting you guys inside like that?
Well, for me, Walt kind of got our bigs together actually at halftime and gave us a nice little pep talk, but that's not the game of basketball. That's not the style of basketball we played at the beginning, letting them out-physical us. So that gave us extra motivation. And also Coach Hartman got on us pretty good at halftime too. So that helped a lot going into that second half.
I mean, yeah, man, we know what we need to do. And, we just had to trust each other, play harder, and, get the job done.
Up front on the right side.
Michael Giddens, War Report. Walter, 11 of 18, 34 points. Can you talk about what it's been like for you doing what you've done in the SEC this year with the conference having such a historic season culminated with this championship run?
To be honest with you, I don't really I guess you could say I haven't really had time to reflect on what I've been doing. I've just been focused on us winning games and just winning games with these guys, and that's what we've been doing. So that's kind of I haven't taken the time to kind of reflect back on the season yet.
Same area, Robbie.
Robbie LaStella, bracketshere.org. Two for Elijah. What's it feel like right now? Obviously, still one more to go, but you got past this first round here at the Final Four. And secondly, those dunks. Were you intending to fly from the free throw line?
It feels good, getting this win. Being back in the national championship. I don't remember the last time that we've been here, but just super grateful for these guys, honestly. And those dunks, I just was thinking just going dunk it, honestly.
We've been waiting on them all year.
Yeah.
We want to thank the student athletes from Florida. They're going to head back to the locker room for more of your questions and their answers. We're going to take questions for Coach next. We're going to start in the back of the room with Fanta as soon as the dais is cleared. Great job, guys. See you tomorrow. All right. Coach, our first question comes from the back of the room toward the center. Go ahead, John.
Todd, John Fanta, Fox Sports. Your team is down 9, 2 minutes into the second half. On this stage, for certain groups, that could lead to somebody or a team getting phased. It was pretty understandable. That's never been your team once. How much was tonight against a team you have so much respect for a testament to the unflappability of this group? And have you ever seen anything like it from a team, this just unfazed element to this group of guys?
Yeah, to answer your question in short form, it's 100%. A great example of that. I thought Auburn played great in the first half. We did some nice things, but we did not have an answer for their physicality in the paint. I think they were 13 for 18 from 2, and the way our game plan, we weren't executing it very well, and it wasn't working very well. And so we get to halftime. Tommy was right. We Coach Hartman kind of tried to get us going a little bit, and then. The main message at halftime was we have to get back to doing what we do and executing in a positive way. And we scored right out of halftime, and I think we got a stop, and then we gave the ball back. They hit a 3 to make it 9. And but from that point forward, I thought we did a great job of getting back to ourselves. Our bigs, I thought did a great job in the second half defending and rebounding. We ended up plus 11 on the glass, I think, or plus 9, I guess. And we're down 1 at halftime. We did a great job guarding Janai 1-on-1 in the second half. I think he was 1 for 4 from the field. And we started getting out in transition a little bit. We saw the ball go through the basket, started gaining some confidence, and we obviously played a really, really good second half. And I think it starts with our perimeter. Walt, Will, and Elijah being senior leaders, guys that have been through the fire a little bit before, great players with a really, really high level of confidence, and they just kind of breathe it into the rest of the team. And the younger guys like Rube and Kondo and Tommy, Zell, they have no choice, but to play with incredible intensity and urgency because of the tone that our perimeter sets.
Up front on the left.
Todd, you've said all year about starting out the second half, coming out and making a statement early on. Talk about that first 5 minutes tonight when y'all outscored them 11-2.
Yeah, we were able to turn up our pressure a little bit defensively. I thought we got them on their heels offensively. We started, just guarding more physically in the paint and making it harder for them to put us in the basket. Got some clean rebounds out in transition, and they controlled the game in the first half. We stuck around and we were hanging in, but we kind of felt like we were getting knocked around a little bit. But we controlled the game in the second half, and I thought after the first 2 minutes of the second half we did that consistently. And it was all three facets: defending, rebound, and take care of the ball, which led to that run and that victory.
Up front on the right side, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin Brockway, Gainesville said. What do you think was the key for Broome in the second half, though? It seemed like in the first half he was getting a lot of deep post position. Was it just you guys kind of pushing him out, a coaching adjustment, player adjustment, or what do you think?
No, I think it was just a function of our bigs, just in our depth. He had a great first half. We didn't have anybody that could stop him. He was getting to his spots. And we stayed the course. We didn't double him. They're too explosive offensively on the perimeter to double him. They're going to just get threes for Kelly, Pettiford, Denver, guys that are automatic knockdown shooters. And you just got to stay the course a little bit. And I thought our depth, being able to get Ruben and Kondo a sub early, bringing them back. I just think we wore them down a little bit. And it was kind of the function of the whole, the whole of our group that stepped up and was able to kind of change that defensive effort in the second half.
On the right side up front.
Isaac Edelman, Florida Victorious. You're one win away from being able to call yourself a national championship winning head coach. I know it probably hasn't soaked in yet, but just how does that feel?
It's pretty incredible, man. We worked pretty hard to get here, and in 3 years, been fortunate to build a great staff that is aligned and that works really hard for each other. And then we've just accumulated a great group of guys, in our roster. And it took a little bit to get all these pieces together, but to a man, they all pull the same direction. There's no unselfishness in our locker room. You see a guy like Walt, he gets asked all the questions and gets all the attention for a great effort like tonight, but there's no animosity there. There's nobody, concerned about that. These guys are just trying to win a championship, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of what our program is, and the strides, that we've made over these past couple years.
On the left side.
Yeah, Coach, can you speak to Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel? Can you speak to what a great day it's been for Gator basketball? Coach Donovan gets to the Hall of Fame, and also you've said you want to restore Gator basketball to that level, and it appears you have.
Yeah, it's incredible. I actually saw Coach Donovan kind of behind our bench right before the second half started, and I was just thinking how amazing it was, that he's here, a guy that is the face of Florida basketball and, had such an amazing career in Gainesville and obviously after, but, what he was able to do, he raised the bar pretty high at Florida. There's some pretty high expectations now because of what he was able to do in his time there, and he deserves the honor of being a Hall of Fame coach, so that was pretty special. And then obviously us winning, and it was funny because, I got in the locker room today, I looked at my phone, I had a text from my dad, and it was a picture of him and Billy D's dad riding next to each other on the bus, on the way to the game, and pretty sweet, pretty special moment, and those two have found their match. Neither of them can get enough words in when they're together.
We'd like to congratulate and thank Coach Golden. Coach, you get to see us again tomorrow.
Can't wait. Go Gators.
Florida locker room is open. I have till about 8:40. That's unofficial. My time, not the official time. You can ask at the locker room door, but the locker room's open until about 8:40, according to my questionable math. We'll have Auburn in here next with the head coach Bruce Pearl, Denver Jones, Dylan Cardwell, and waiting on confirmation on Janai Broome. We do have confirmation that Janai Broom is going to join us. So Janai Broom, Dylan Cardwell, Denver Jones with Coach Pearl. We'll let you know when they're leaving the locker room. When they do leave the locker room, that means the locker room is open. Locker room is open. Auburn is on its way. Similar format for this next 12-minute press conference. Coach Pearl will make an opening statement. We'll take questions for the Auburn student-athletes. After a 5-minute period, we'll let Auburn student-athletes go back to the locker room, which remains open, and we'll stay here with Coach Pearl for another 5-minute session. During the question time for the student-athletes, it's questions for them only, not questions for Coach Pearl, until the student-athletes head back to the locker room. Great job on the first 12 minutes, everybody. Auburn has arrived. Good job, Big Bill. The Auburn locker room is open. We're joined at this time by head coach Bruce Pearl and student-athletes Janai Broom, Dylan Cardwell, and Denver Jones. We'll ask Coach to open things up with a statement. Then we'll take questions first for the student-athletes. Coach.
I want to start off by congratulating Flora on their victory and wish them luck in the championship game. I'm really proud of my team. These guys made history. They're the best basketball team in the history of Auburn basketball. They gave us a ride that won't ever be forgotten. And they did so many great things both on and off the court that I'm extremely proud of. Played beautiful basketball in the first half. We were prepared. We had a great game plan. They executed really well. We only turned the ball over twice. Second half, Florida's effort and energy. The fact that we're not as deep as what we normally are was a factor. And I thought fatigue was a factor. As a result, we weren't able to maintain control of the game, which I think if we had taken care of the basketball a little bit, not turned it over and given those so many easy ones, we could have been in position to win the basketball game.
We'll take some questions now for Dylan, Denver, and Janai. First one is third row to the right.
KJ Dole, KRGV. This is for Janai. It looked like you and Charles Barkley were able to share a moment as you were leaving the court. Just what did he share with you in that moment, and what's he meant to you as a supporter of this program?
He just, thanked me for what I've done for Auburn. Told me to keep my head high. And it was just coming from a guy like who submitted himself in Auburn history means a lot.
Next question's up front on the left side.
Aaron Bracey from Hoops HQ, Denver. What made guarding Walter such a challenge? What was he doing out there that was tough for you guys tonight?
Honestly, just, do a lot of dribbling handoffs. Just a lot of actions just run through him. Just constant moving. I feel like that's just what gave him some of the looks that he had tonight. Just a lot of handoffs, a lot of drives. So that's what it was.
Continuing with questions for the student athletes from Auburn, center of the room.
Dylan, you've been here 5 years. You've been through the COVID year. You've been through some really incredible ups. As you look back on your career at Auburn, and you're kind of like the glue, the spiritual leader of this team, walking away from this right now, what are some of the memories that you feel like, I know it's tough right now with going through a loss, but that you've learned from being in this program?
Yeah, first and foremost, all glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without him, I wouldn't be here. And it's bittersweet to end it this way, knowing that we left the national championship on the table. But, being at Auburn has been the best 5 years of my life, and I couldn't have chosen a greater university to have loved me back and, just watch me grow up from 18 to 23. And I am the man I am because God let me come to Auburn. And, man, the thing I'll take away most is just being an Auburn man, but just being a teammate, being a player for Bruce Pearl, but also being in the locker room. We're the best locker room in the country. I love these guys, and I cherish every single moment, every single memory we made. And that's my prayer the whole year, just Lord, prolong our season. We just had so many great memories on and off the court. This is the funniest team I've ever been on, but the most loving and caring and thoughtful team I've ever been on. And I'll forever remember this team, and I hope we can stay in touch for the rest of our lives.
Continuing with questions for the players from Auburn, same part of the room, same microphone.
Justin Ferguson, Auburn Observer. Denver, second half, did they do anything differently defensively to give y'all some issues? Like, what do you think the change was there?
Honestly, I just feel like we probably just fell to fatigue a little bit. Turned the ball over. We had a lot of careless turnovers that in the first half we really didn't have. And I feel like that's what probably just gave them that extra spark. To take the lead.
If you have a question for the student athletes, please raise your hand. We have two. We'll do Lane first, and then we'll come back across the aisle.
Lane Higgins from the Wall Street Journal. Janai, this is for you. I know coming into this game, you said that your ankle felt totally fine. In the second half, it looked like it was kind of getting to you a bit, and you were limping a bit. Can you kind of walk us through, what you were playing through and kind of, the heart that took to push through that?
My ankle was fine.
Across the aisle with another question.
Jim Vertuno of the Associated Press for Janai. I'd ask you the same question about the elbow. That was a question coming in. It looked at times like maybe it was bothering you, but you seem to still be able to do just about everything. Also, the second part is what did they do defensively to deny you shots in the second half?
My elbow felt fine going into the game. Obviously, here and there it would bother me a little bit, but nothing that I couldn't play with. I feel like we got the looks that we wanted to get. I wasn't able to capitalize and finish them.
If you have a question for the Auburn student athletes, please raise your hand. With no more questions, we want to thank Dylan, Denver, and Janai for joining us here in the main interview room. Congrats on a great season, fellas. They're going to head back to the Auburn locker room. It remains open. I'll let you know the official time when we have one. Either way is good. Thank you.
All right, guys. All right, love you. Love you too.
Thank you. First question for Coach Pearl. We're going up front to the right.
Coach, you guys had a hell of a run here to the Final Four. Michael Gittins, World Report. you said fatigue was a factor for your team coming in. Just the grind of the NCAA tournament, or was it anything in the routine that stood out?
We got down to 7 guys, and that's not enough. We just did not have enough help off the bench, and I think to take a little heat off of Janai, we scored great in the first half with our 2-point baskets. We went through him, and he did great. And I don't know whether we got away from it a little bit, but we only had a handful of 2-point baskets in the second half. So I'll give Florida credit defensively for stepping up. But I just think that passing and catching and fighting for your real estate, getting your spots, not letting them push you out of position. And I think that's why we didn't execute.
In the center of the room, Coach?
Coach Daryl Dapperich with Auburn Daily. Clayton Jr. is a phenomenal player. He hit some shots that were contested, falling back, some threes that you guys got out on him defensively, but there were some times he got to the rim real easy and really got to the with layups. Talk about the defensive maybe breakdowns on that and what happened that allowed him to get to the rim so easy.
Well, he's a great player, and he can go both ways. He can make tough shots. About the only thing that, again, I probably should have done more would be trap the ball out of his hands a little bit. Believe it or not, that was part of our game plan, but we just didn't execute it. Like just sort of, I guess sort of you say all things are kind of equal, and Clayton was the difference. I mean, he was just flat out the difference because we couldn't contain him down that end. But again, I take responsibility for 12 turnovers in the second half. It's just impossible to either explain or to think that you can win, turn the ball over a little bit. We got a little out of sorts offensively, and guys just did not execute offensively what our game plan was like they did in the first half.
Coach, center in the second row.
Adi Joseph, CBS Sports. You mentioned the depth when you did your opening statement that Florida has. Obviously, Janai got what he wanted in the first half. Did you kind of anticipate their depth and their size and their defensive acumen coming into play in the second half? Did you expect a different sort of look from Florida?
Yeah, we knew they'd come out aggressively, but I was hoping that our starters would be able to withstand. I did not call timeout in the first 4 minutes. I was trying to get to the TV timeout. We got to it. Obviously those starters, my top 5 players, all seniors. And, I just think that, again, we came out offensively and we didn't run some of the things that we had talked about running the way we talked about running them. And so just 12 turnovers, bad execution, bad decision-making, bad passing, catching. Took a lot of shots that we did not want to take.
To the right of the aisle. And the fourth row.
Justin Ferguson, Auburn Observer. Bruce, I was going to ask you about the shot selection. It felt like you guys had some good looks that didn't go down. Did you feel like that kind of faded in the second half and y'all took tougher looks? Or how'd you feel about the shot selection?
We just did not execute offensively in the second half. We just didn't. I give Florida credit for their defense, but there were certain things, certain reads, certain looks that we made in the first half and chose to not make them in the second half.
Coach, up front to the right.
Michael Giddens, War Report, Auburn. Coach, can you talk a little bit about Miles Kelly? He had kind of a tough run through the last few games, especially from 3. He's such a great shooter, but it seemed like he was unable to find a rhythm here in the last few games for you.
Well, I mean, they did a great job of extending his catches, and they recognize what a dangerous shooter, Miles is, and not banging down some of those shots. He got a couple in the first half, and again, felt like we had a really nice. We scored 48 points in the first half, right? 46. We just had a great rhythm, and we got everything we wanted, but we had to work for it. And I just thought we stopped working offensively the way they're coached.
Final question for Coach Pearl, all the way in the back on the right side.
Bruce, Joe Goodman, AL.com. What do you say to Todd after tonight's game?
Well, I haven't talked to him yet. He's been sensational all season long. And I know that, he's going to be disappointed because he wasn't elite tonight like he's always been. Give again Florida credit. There's real size in their backcourt and real size in their front court, and again, if he had a better coach, he'd have got him cleaner looks, and he would have had a few more open shots, and that probably would have helped him, play a little better. But if there are 5 of the top freshmen in college basketball this year, Todd Pettiford is absolutely one of them. And I'm so incredibly proud of him. And I know his teammates are. I trust him.
We want to thank Coach Pearl for joining us and congratulate him and Auburn on a terrific season run to the Final Four. Thank you, Coach. The Auburn locker room remains open. By my math, it's 8:45. Check for the official time when you get to the locker room. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you after semifinal number 2.